Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations, David, on 10 years. So, in a sense, going from a 10-year birthday to something that's exceptionally new, it's a pleasure to have Roma and Alex and Helen from Walmart Plus to spend the next 45 minutes or so, so we can all understand a little bit more about what is the essence of Walmart Plus, and maybe we can learn from the experience that they've had. But maybe the three of you, maybe it's a good place to start. If you could tell us a little bit about your sort of personal journey that's brought you to Walmart Plus. So, I mean, maybe Roma, if we can start with you.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much, David. So yeah, I've had a bit of a mix of a journey between working for large and small companies. Started my career at American Express, where I spent about 10 years in the consumer credit card business there. Wanted to kind of follow my passion for media. So after over a decade there, moved over to the media space and worked for a couple of digital media companies, including The Street, which is Jim Cramer's financial media company, as well as helped build the digital subscriptions business at Bloomberg.com. And then kind of got the startup itch. So moved over to the fintech space and worked for a personal finance app called Acorns. And ultimately that brought me to Walmart. And I think, as I think about my career journey, most of my experience has really been in three areas: building best in class CRM programs, building subscription models or businesses, and working in startup hyper growth environments. So I think what attracted me to Walmart was the ability to combine all of those three with Walmart Plus. And on top of that, I'm a total data geek. So moving over to retail, having the ability to have a treasure trove of customer data to be able to deliver highly personalized experiences, that was a big draw for
Well, certainly don't apologize for being a data geek. I think that's a badge of honor at the moment.
Yeah, data geek to the core.
Alex, you've had a slightly more, I suppose, classic FMCG journey.
Yes, David, and I hope you can hear me okay. My internet connection's a little unstable. Most of my career has been in CPG marketing, so mostly food and beverage. I spent about 13 years in CPG. I started with Anheuser-Busch InBev, and coming out of business school, I was stocking coolers in Texas full of beer. So I wanted to learn that business on the ground up, which I certainly did. I had various marketing roles with AB InBev, and from there I moved into food. I worked at Kraft Foods, which then became Mondelez when the company split. So I was in the snacking business, working on Trident gum and innovation, and then base brand marketing, general management type marketing on Nabisco brands. And then I wanted to move more into lifestyle marketing and get more influencer and experiential marketing experience and PR experience. And so
Correct. I think we've sort of lost you for a sec, but maybe let's move over to Helen. Again, you've had a very...
he's back. Alex, we lost
back.
you for a second.
We lost you for a minute. But anyway, we'll quickly move on to Helen.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So my background is a little bit similar to Roma and Alex's. Actually started my career in CPG marketing as well. I was part of a L'Oreal management development program, so 2 years in different brand management roles right out of college, and thought I would be a CPG marketer for the rest of my career. And then Quidsy, which at the time was still owned by Mark Lowry, and was a very scrappy startup, but owned right after the Amazon acquisition. Kind of recruited me, and that began the beginning of my digital marketing and performance marketing experience. So I worked on diapers.com, beautybar.com, a subscription box company, and then moved on to an e-commerce, omnichannel e-commerce retailer called Journal, where I led performance marketing and e-commerce there. And then went to my first a real seed round startup as like the 10th employee of the company at a company called MealPal, which is a lunch subscription company. And then I moved on to Walmart. I kind of wanted to have both the large company experience and the small experience. So I've been toggling back and forth. So I had been at Walmart for 4 years now.
Well, maybe Alex, you can help level set us all, because I'm sure watching and listening today, we've got many different people with different type of knowledge of what Walmart Plus is, and hopefully a lot of users as well of Walmart Plus. But for everybody, maybe you could just level set and just give us what the essence really of Walmart Plus is all about.
Sorry, David, I went out of there, out again for a second, but yeah, just Walmart Plus. I mean, in a nutshell, it's a life hack really for our customers. So if you think about Walmart and the brand and our equity, it's about saving money and allowing people to live better lives. So we really think of the membership as an extension of that. So we want to save people time and money with it. We know that the customer needs and the environment has changed drastically. But we stay rooted in that, and we're building a program and benefits that are going to help people do that. So you look at people's needs and the fact that convenience has become more and more important, and that they're having to multitask all the time. I think that's pre-pandemic and during the pandemic. That's a constant. So we've got benefits, and we've built benefits that really lean into that. When you think about free delivery from our stores and free shipping from Walmart.com, those are really important benefits. But we extend it outside of the home as well. But it all stays rooted in helping people maintain the best lives for themselves and spend time with their families and what matters most. And we want to be a tool that enables that.
Now, maybe we can just spend a little bit of time just talking, I suppose, from your own personal perspective of what is it, or was it, about the whole sort of subscription space, which clearly is growing very rapidly, that sort of attracted you from your various different elements of your career to actually want to work within the subscription space? So maybe we can start with Roma.
Yeah, sure. So, David, I've actually, I think, been kind of a veteran in the subscription space. So my last 3 roles prior to Walmart were subscription models. So The Street, again, a financial media company that offers investing products that novice or more advanced investors can subscribe to. Building out a subscription business for Bloomberg Media and the Bloomberg.com, turning that from an advertising-driven model to a subscription-based model, and then Acorns, which is a personal investing app which you can subscribe to. And I truly believe that we're living in a subscription economy, and members will continue to sign up for multiple subscriptions to meet their everyday needs. So whether it's getting entertainment, trusted news, or even having their coffee or vitamins delivered to their door. So as I was thinking about kind of my next opportunity, I was looking for a business that I believed would see sustained growth during the pandemic, but then also what was the world going to look like post-pandemic, and what were going to be those winners and losers and beyond. And I felt that, Walmart was really uniquely positioned and had many of the ingredients, whether it's like the trusted brand or the tech infrastructure and the resources, to really succeed in launching the next big subscription program or next big subscription business. So I was really excited to be a part of building that.
And what do you think is the driver of your view that we're increasingly living in a subscription world? What benefits is that now to the consumer?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just look at the data, 10 years ago, very few people adopted subscriptions. And now there's been this growth of subscription businesses across every industry. And many consumers have multiple subscriptions and are willing to pay for multiple subscriptions. And that includes our audience for Walmart Plus. We call them the TSBFs, the time sensitive busy families. And on average, they have a multiple subscriptions. So the data validates that, this is need, and consumers are willing to pay for subscriptions over time to get the convenience and the services that they want.
Helen, you've worked in a number of subscription-based businesses and services. What's the attraction to you?
Yeah, so similar to Roma, this is my 3rd subscription company. I worked at a beauty sampling box with Allure magazine. I worked on a lunch subscription that had different meal plans, and then now this is my 3rd one. And I came from an internal role at Walmart, so I kind of got recruited by Cynthia, who heads up marketing at Walmart, to join before launch. So I was part of this like pre-launch incubator group, and it just felt very exciting. I think this was a huge priority for the company, and I felt like there was a lot of opportunity to learn. And it did seem like the company was putting a lot of thought into, well, how do we make this not just yet another subscription company? There is a little bit of subscription fatigue, as we all have multiple subscriptions. And I think the team has really thought about, well, how do we make this truly, like Alex said, a life hack, something that is going to be used day to day, has multiple benefits, and is going to be just there to make your life easier. So I thought the value prop and being a part of something so big was really exciting, and that's why I moved internally.
Now you talked about an incubator. In a sense, Walmart Plus is very much a startup within clearly a very large and established company. So what is the relationship between Walmart and Walmart Plus in terms of sort of a startup within the larger mothership? Maybe Alex, you can give us a perspective.
Yeah, I think it's the best of both worlds in a way. You know, like we've got the flexibility and the ability to be nimble because it is sort of an incubator or startup within a larger organizations, but we have the resources of Walmart. You know, it doesn't get bigger than that. So I think the relationship with other groups is it's strong. You know, I've seen in some places where you've got like previous CPG experience where you've got you know, incubator type groups.
So I think we're losing
Walmart.
I think Alex is frozen. Yeah.
You lost me again.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm back. No, I've seen incubator type brands get lost within large organizations and fight for resources, and I don't think that's the case with Walmart Plus. It's a huge priority for us, and we see, you know, other teams wanting to figure out like how do we, you know, leverage the best of Walmart and its scale and its breadth with something that's really new and exciting for the organization.
Both Roma and Helen, you've both worked within you know, what I suppose one technically would call sort of, you know, a very you know, a startup in its true sense of the word, which is, you know, a very small company, limited amount of resources, and a burn that's looked at sort of you know, every day. How would you characterize the differences, the strengths and the benefits of a startup incubator within Walmart, given your experience of I suppose standalone startups?
Yeah, I can speak. Sure. Yeah. As Alex mentioned, and this was a key kind of driving factor for me to join Walmart, is I felt like with Walmart Plus, we kind of have the best of both worlds. We have the ability to be innovative. We have the ability to be agile, move quickly like a startup, but then we're also backed by the strong brand and the resources that come with working for the country's largest retailer. And I think I've also worked at other large companies where they have incubator groups that were kind of separate from the mothership, if you will. And that wasn't the type of environment I wanted to work in. And I felt like Walmart Plus is so integral to the core of the business. It's a top leadership priority. And it's also essential to kind of the future growth of the company. So being part of something where we can move quickly, hyper growth environment, but is also core to the company was really exciting. Of course, being in any big company, you know, at a startup, you won't have to do as many decks. You won't have to deal as much red tape. So that's, I think, kind of the flip side. But at the same time, you know, when you're working for a startup, you're highly dependent on securing other people's money to survive. And if you don't, you know, your business could go under in a matter of months. With Walmart, we have the capital and the support that comes with the broader Walmart brand that gives us some of that increased flexibility and runway longer term. So I feel like it truly is the best of both worlds if you want to work in that high growth culture, but also have the stability of a you know, well-established brand like Walmart.
Yep. I totally agree. I think Walmart actually has an incubator. And so I have seen the other side where they're kind of siloed, whereas Walmart Plus is very much integrated in the larger Walmart mothership. Shared goals, shared leaders. I really loved that there's so much opportunity to learn and a willingness to fail. Like we were willing to try things, learn from them, and pivot. And we pivoted very quickly, which is impressive for being a big company. In my prior 3 roles, Quidsy, Journal, MealPal, as the kind of acquisition performance marketer, we were very much held to profitable CACs or profitable CPAs, right? Even any venture-backed company, even with, when Quidsy was owned by Amazon, there's a lot of pressure to become profitable after like a decade of not being profitable. And so I was very much kind of, shackled to certain partners, certain, channels that were going to deliver, contribution profit positive CPAs. And so the mix in the media that I could work on was a little bit more limited. Whereas at Walmart, we have like a full funnel media strategy. Everybody's testing and learning. We don't come in with a bias of it has to be this way. We can test and we can fail, and we'll be smarter from it. So it's just been a dream to be a performance marketer at Walmart Plus, because you really get to learn a lot. There's no bias for this is how it works and this is the only way it can be done.
So clearly there's a great advantage of not necessarily having your eyes over your shoulder, wondering when the next round is going to happen and whether it's going to be funded or not. Let's move on to talk a little bit about the Walmart Plus proposition. I mean, to what extent was it a reflection of the pandemic, or actually was this conceived well before the pandemic hit the world?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, it's interesting because it was not related to the pandemic. It was born out of a customer need, and it was rooted in something that was more human-centric. The timing, obviously it launched during the pandemic, but it was actually originally planned to launch pre-pandemic. And then once pandemic hit, everybody, like every other company out there, said, let's see how this nets out. Let's, pause for a little bit, put our foot on the brake. But I think with the pandemic, the needs that we identified pre-pandemic, they became even more important post-pandemic and will continue to be. So it just, I think, kind of was the perfect timing, but it was based on a customer need. It wasn't based on the external environment.
Now, what would you say the sort of customer insight in the pre-pandemic period? I mean, it's obviously, in a sense, in hindsight, it's much easier with a pandemic lens to really understand that. But the pre-pandemic lens that you were looking through this when you were putting the jigsaw together of the idea and the proposition, what was the customer insight that led you to believe that Walmart Plus actually could be something that had serious scale to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there were a couple of customer insights that ultimately led to the decision to launch. So I think the first one is our customers have to engage with way too many retailers and brands to get all of their needs addressed, whether it's grocery shopping, buying everyday consumables like toilet paper, or larger purchases like a TV or an Apple Watch. And that for the customer means more time investment on their side versus if they could just engage with one brand. And obviously Walmart has that depth and breadth of merchandise. And so, our customers wanted to engage with retailers that made it easy for them to shop, that know them well and can anticipate their needs. So since we have the luxury of engaging with them in so many levels, whether that's online or in store and across so many different categories, both the depth and breadth, we have more data on them than most other retailers, and I would argue any other retailer. And that allows us also to personalize their experience, to anticipate their needs and offer kind of a better experience end to end. So that was kind of where the idea was born. And I wouldn't say that customers outwardly said, I want us to launch a subscription service. They said that they wanted to save more time and money while going about their everyday life. And so we launched a membership that would help fulfill on those needs.
Now, there are a lot of innovative subscription services around. Alex, what was it that you think, or is it that you think is something that highly discriminates and differentiates yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is what Roma is talking about. It's like we want to be essential to to people every day. You know, you think about groceries and consumables and some of the things that we sell as a retailer. Those are things that people are buying on an everyday basis. So how do we make that easier for them? How do we get them to save more time and more money, and extend Walmart into that through a membership? So I think, you know, Roma touched on it a bit in terms of we're kind of a one-stop shop. You know, you think about the breadth of our merchandise. You can get almost anything at a Walmart. So having a service that makes that easier for people and more convenient for people separates us, I think, from a lot of other services that are out there. There's also the fact that we're omni-channel. So our e-commerce business has grown considerably during the pandemic. You know, people have been ordering more and more on Walmart.com than ever before. More people have been downloading our app. But our stores, our store footprint is big and vast. And pre-pandemic, more people were in stores. The traffic waned. It's going to come back now as people are vaccinated. So I think being an omni-channel player and having a membership that caters to that is different than a lot of the other services that are out there.
And Helen, how important is the whole sort of omni-channel centricity of the ability to shop Walmart to the core of the proposition?
I think it's super important. Most of our customers are store shoppers, right? Many of them exclusively store shoppers. And so if you, I can't think of many retailers that have that scale and that reach from an omni-channel perspective. I also really admire that the benefits aren't just shopping benefits, but overall lifestyle benefits. So you think about fuel, you think about the new RX benefit that just launched. I think we have a PR announcement about it recently. It's not just omni-channel shopping, but everything you might need in your life. And so the way that this membership is positioned as a kind of lifestyle portfolio of benefits that just gets better and better is really enticing.
And how do the stores view it? I mean, is it something that the stores are actively engaged in?
Yep. We have a lot of alignment at the leadership level that this is really important. We do have a store benefit now called Mobile Scan and Go, where you can check out through your phone. And I think there's just a lot of excitement about making the store experience just better for Walmart Plus members.
Now, you started February-ish time. One of the I suppose the defining things of a startup organization is the ability to be able to pull in data, understand things fast, move on a dime from insights and data that you have access to. So what have you learned thus far in your journey, and how fast are you at being able to adapt the proposition to things that you've learned
I can speak to that.
In a very large organization? I mean, is there a tension between that?
Yeah. I will say I was a little bit shocked at how quickly we could move. So I'll speak a little bit to the learnings and the insights and some of the ways we've actioned that. So I think first and foremost, the customer is at the core of everything we do. So we stay very close to the customer, regularly collect feedback, whether that's from surveys or focus groups or digging deep into the behaviors and the data. And there's a couple of key themes that we've seen since launch. And I think, Doug and others have talked about this in investor reports, et cetera. But one, like just how critical the customer experience is especially for the delivery experience. And then two, how important the value the member receives in terms of time and money savings in order to justify that membership fee. So for number one, we're making a ton of investments in our supply chain to ensure that we are delivering upon the experience that customers expect, and kind of freeing up the capacity to do so. And I think one other thing I would say about Walmart Plus is we're often viewed as the squeaky wheel, where we kind of light fire under some of these larger changes that happen enterprise-wide. So I think there's a lot of great investments being made on that front. And then around the kind of the value prop, again, as I mentioned, we're continuously talking to our members about their problems and needs as we roll out new benefits over time. And when we launched, we heard loud and clear from customer feedback that they wanted us to waive the order minimum for free shipping on Walmart.com. So when we launched, there was still an order minimum for members, but we heard loud and clear that that was something that our members wanted. So within 3 months of launch, we reacted very quickly. And I would say within a matter of weeks, we actually mobilized our internal teams to get that benefit live. So I think that was, to me, very shocking for a big enterprise to be able to move that quickly. But I think it speaks to the agility of the startup-like culture that we've created for Walmart Plus.
And what do you think is the catalyst to be able to move fast in a very large organization? I think a lot of people watching this who do work for large organizations, probably at times are frustrated by the slowness of how things move, even when you as the product owner, the brand director, really see the needs to move quickly.
Yeah. I think there's really two kind of ingredients to the secret sauce. I think one is leadership alignment, right? Like at the most senior levels, coming top down, that this is very important. We all need to rally around this. And then I would say we have a very tight-knit, cross-functional working team for Walmart Plus across product and marketing and finance, customer experience. We have kind of, a very tight-knit pod that we're all goaled against the same things. So in other organizations I worked for, different cross-functional partners had competing goals. So that would cause kind of an issue. But the fact that we're all gold in the same thing, we all are marching towards the same roadmap. I think once leadership asks us to do something, we can work together very quickly to make it happen.
Yep. Yeah, I'll just add to that. It really is a testament of the trust and the relationship with our core cross-functional partners. We have a lot of meetings together. We've looked at all of our priorities. Again, Roma said we all share the same goals. And so when we look at our priorities and stack rank them, if something in Roma's world, when on retention is going to drive a bigger impact than an acquisition, we'll all say, hey, let's prioritize that one. So it's always been like the team over like your unique work stream or your unique role, which has been very very just refreshing, honestly, because it is customer first rather than kind of ownership first. We were always kind of a very tight-knit core team.
And Alex, how do you manage that as a team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have complementary work streams, which is great. And, Helen and Roma and I just collaborate and work very closely together, because Helen mentioned it earlier. Like, we think of this as full funnel, right? Like, we've got to build awareness of a program and a membership that's new to the world that a lot of people still don't know about. We got to get people in, that's where Helen comes in to hook them and get them in and get them to try it or sign up for a free trial. And then from a retention standpoint, Roma and the team, getting people to utilize the benefits and getting them to stay with us. So, we think of it holistically like that. And we make sure that, we're running in the same direction and doing it in service of a full funnel. That's part of it. And then the other thing I would say, beyond the internal pods and those tight-knit teams, which are crucial, having the right external partners as well, and agency partners who are going to be willing to understand that we've got to be flexible and nimble and try new things, and we're going to need them to be on that journey with us. So I think identifying the right external partners that can help with that is really important as well.
I mean, I think you make a really interesting point, which is sometimes even as you said, like the largest retailer in the world, there are times when you need external help, support, maybe advice, and to try and do everything yourself, even when you do have access to the resources that you have at Walmart, is difficult when you're creating a new proposition like that. I mean, given what you're currently seeing through the launch and the development, are you seeing that consumers' needs are changing and sort of they're demanding much more flexibility on actually how they want to use and how they want to access the stores? It wasn't that long ago where accessing the store was you only had one option, to physically walk into the store. So do you see those changes taking place? And so also given the way in which you describe your time sensitive shoppers, and I suppose, is this something that you've seen and is part of the pandemic, I suppose, culture, or do you see some of these elements lasting much longer than the pandemic?
Yeah, I think the jury is still out on what it's going to look like, but the pandemic, some of the impact of it is going to be that some consumer behavior is going to just shift and stick. I think, I was still working in spirits at Diageo when the pandemic hit, and we saw the adoption of e-commerce, within a matter of months. Experts thought it would take years, and it happened in a matter of months. Of course, some of that's going to shift back across industries and across the retail landscape. But I think, consumers' eyes are open and customers' eyes are open on how convenient some things were, and the offerings that retailers and other brands gave them that they didn't really think about before the pandemic. So I think some of that's going to stick. But I also think that, we're seeing it now. The world is opening up, and people are out and about more, and foot traffic is going to continue to increase in brick and mortar in retail. I think part of it is just the pent up demand and people wanting to get back out in the world. So for us, we want to make sure that when we think about the membership and the program, that we are adapting to the customers' changing needs, and that's why the omni-channel lens is so important for us. And we've got scan and go for in the store. We have a fuel discount which is becoming more and more relevant now as fuel prices go up and people are out and about more. And then of course our delivery benefits. So I think of it a bit like a stock portfolio where you want to diversify and make sure that you're placing bets kind of across the landscape. We want to make sure that we're doing that, and we'll learn more and more about our store customers and how that changes over time as I think the world opens up more and more.
And presumably, Roma, we're talking about the same customer who on occasions will want to go into the store, on other occasions is just too busy to do that and want things delivered, and other occasions will want to be able to literally pick stuff up on their way to somewhere else, a click and collect type operation as a drive-through. So are you seeing more and more of those interrelationships as opposed to consumers want to shop in particular ways?
Yeah, I think for Walmart Plus specifically, by and far, people sign up for our membership for the delivery benefits, right? So free delivery from our stores or free shipping from Walmart.com. So our customer is going to over-index on that, but we absolutely see, if you kind of look at the journey of a customer, Walmart Plus member, using the delivery, having the flexibility to then go in store if they want, to use curbside pickup. So I think as Alex and Helen have both mentioned, that omni-channel value proposition allows us to do that. And I think, again, because we have that omni-channel presence and we're capturing data and all those touch points, it really gives us an advantage to, deliver a personalized experience across all channels and kind of build that member profile and capturing their data and anticipating their needs and personalizing the experience.
Yep.
Now, as and you said that people are beginning to come back to the stores. We're seeing that, thankfully, not just in the States now, but right across the world, where I suppose the vaccine program has a reasonable traction now. So I suppose the normal rules are beginning to come back to play, which is, in a sense, are you looking at, do you need to increase the average transaction value, or the frequency, or the depth of categories that are shopped? Looking forward, I suppose, is Walmart Plus a play on value, frequency, depth, or all of the above?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the short answer is all three. I think when we're with the launch of a membership program, our goal is to build a loyal member base that uses Walmart for the majority of their shopping needs, right? So we have that depth and breadth of inventory, whether it's groceries, consumables, general merchandise, et cetera. And also the ability to deliver those products in a channel that best suits the customer. So our objective with Walmart Plus is to really be the go-to retailer for a member. And with that, we strive to increase how frequently they shop with us, how big their basket size is, and the depth of categories purchased. And then I think on top of that, and I alluded to this before, but so doubling down on all three of those, and then also capturing their data through that omni-channel shopping experience, we're able to better personalize that member experience and also anticipate their future shopping needs.
I mean, Alex, what would you say about, I suppose, that the triangle of value, frequency, and depth? I mean, how important is it that the Walmart Plus proposition also encourages people to shop across the categories within Walmart?
Yeah, I think it's hugely important. Value is the bedrock and the foundation of Walmart. Our customers expect that they're getting the best prices on everything that they're shopping for with Walmart. So, you know, everything gets built off of that. And when we talk about the membership being an extension of Walmart and as a brand, it really does start with value and saving money so that people can live better lives. But we want to bring them in and make sure that they're shopping across the categories. We are a one-stop shop. You can get, you know, whether it's your everyday needs or, you know, you start to think about back to school, you know, seasonal moments, holiday, and the customer dynamics and how those have shifted. You know, holiday this year is going to look a lot different than holiday looked last year. And our membership, it's like whether you're, you know, hosting and finally going to be able to get together with family and friends again, that you weren't able to do last year, or you have your gift needs, whether it's for immediate family, extended family, friends, whether it's a toy for a kid or, you know, bigger ticket item for a spouse, we have all of that covered. So we want to make sure that customers are shopping us for all of those things.
Well, just as a reminder, if you want to ask a question, please use the question chat at the bottom of the screen. We talk quite a lot about, I suppose, the benefits of Walmart Plus. What do you think the benefit to Walmart Plus returns back to the mothership, to the Walmart Corporation, and in particular, I suppose, the Walmart brand?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. One is just about, you know, loyalty, right? Like membership programs are designed to drive loyalty and breadth and depth of wallet. So that return, you know, gets accelerated with the membership program. So I think that's one benefit. I think Roma talked a little bit earlier about operational excellence, you know, and the fact that deliveries from our store are a big part of the program. When you know you have we're a retailer and we want to serve our customers really, really well. So if it's a bit of a catalyst to make sure that we're continuing to improve our operations and making sure that the experience is amazing for our customers. And then I think there's a bit of equity building too. You know, part of the reason I came to Walmart Plus was to work in an e-commerce environment, being something that's digitally centric, which our membership is. We've attracted a lot more shoppers through our app and digitally, and I think the membership's a bit of a tip of the spear for that. Most customers think of Walmart as a big, slow-moving brick and mortar company, you know, with our store footprint, and not like a tech-forward, digitally savvy brand. Like, I don't think that's what comes to mind when people think about Walmart. And I think Walmart Plus helps with that. It helps customers and consumers think about the brand differently. So I think there's an equity lift from the membership as well.
Roma, your perceptions?
I honestly think Alex did a fantastic job covering it.
I wasn't
I
doubting
think
that
you
for a
covered
minute.
all of what I was going to hit on. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you've come a long way in the last few months. Anybody who's launched anything knows that the planning period before the launch takes a lot of time, effort, and emotional resource as well. Looking back, how would you describe, I suppose, where you are now, and what do you think lies ahead?
I mean, I'll start from the top of the funnel. Walmart Plus is a baby. You know, we just launched it in September. It's so new. So we have a lot of awareness building to do. People have to understand, like, first, that it exists. You know, there's still a lot of people that don't know it exists yet. And then B, why the benefits are important and why they'll help them in their everyday lives. So I think, you know, as I look ahead and I think about the Walmart Plus brand within the larger context of Walmart, a lot of it is getting people to know that this exists and that it's really helpful to their everyday lives.
Yeah, I think looking back, we've learned a lot. We launched, I think the challenge, like, there aren't a lot of memberships that are multi-benefit, you know, different categories of benefits. And we've learned a lot around comms. This is across all three of our work streams, Roma's, Alex's, and mine, around being really single-minded in the message, making sure that people, you know, they're just distracted when they're online, right? Nobody is really paying attention to a Facebook ad, right? So making sure that there's breakthrough, there's clarity on the benefit, not trying to talk about too many things. I think we struggle a lot with saying too much when we need to be really, really kind of brick to forehead on what really matters. And so we've done a lot of comms testing, value prop testing, you know, testing all different kinds of reasons to believe. And I think that the next steps are going to be more single-minded, more focused on the why rather than explaining the what all the time, so that we're making that connection really, really real. And people are like, oh, I get it, you know, right out of the gate.
How difficult is it to pare that down, to do less rather than more, when you think of all the many things that you could do? I mean, when you sit down as a team and think, well, here are all the things we should do, how difficult is it to just say, okay, right, we're just going to do these two and we're going to do them brilliantly?
Yep, it's very hard, but our team, I mean, the whole team is very receptive to data. And so in acquisition marketing, we had a lot of combined benefits, heroing each individual benefit, and we kind of understand what's driving a maximum conversion. And so I think the team is very receptive to, hey, when we combine all these things and try to say so much, we think we're talking about more, right? But more is not often more. More is often just confusing. And so there is empirical data on really focus on what's most relevant to that person. And in often cases, sometimes that might just be fuel, or sometimes that might be scan and go, or sometimes that might be delivery. And so really pairing that comms to the right person at the right time, I think is just best practice, but we have the data to really back up our gut instinct.
Well, we're almost out of time. We've got time for a couple of questions that have been sent in. I've realized that what I've learned during the pandemic period is staring at a screen all day long. My eyesight has deteriorated terribly, so I've had to come even closer to actually read the Q&As. But question we have here, which is, how have your use of sort of technology and apps influenced the customer mix in terms of sort of demographics? Are they sort of broadening? And do you think this is also helping to influence and grow the brand?
I can speak a little bit about technology and data. We're really privileged to have a lot of first-party data from in-store to, you know, .com shopping, as well as third-party data. I think there's a lot of technology around kind of the data science around acquiring the highest propensity customers. There's a lot of technology on geolocation, so we're not trying to sell a benefit that's actually not available. Most of our benefits are local benefits, not national. So I think technology has just helped us hone in on how are we saying the right thing to the right person, based off of where they are in life, so that we're not being irrelevant or just kind of feeling like we don't know the customer. So it's been very helpful to have that third party and first party data.
Great.
And I would add to that. Oh,
yep, Karen.
sorry. Yeah, I was just going to add to that. If we just go back to our core audience, the time sensitive, busy families, when you look at their needs and their channel preferences, they're very tech savvy. They're very engaged with apps. And so that has also influenced kind of our channel mix and how we communicate to them, because we obviously want to serve them in the channels that are most relevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a question now that's come in, I suppose, around the objectives that you had when you were planning, and any modifications to those. So has the crisis forced any modifications to your sort of short to mid-term goals, and how are you measuring success?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just keeping our finger on the pulse of customer behavior. Everything we do starts with the customer. So we need to make sure that we adapt and are nimble through the funnel, based on what we're seeing and hearing. So we are, I think, lucky to be well resourced in terms of what we can learn from media and performance, and what's resonating with customers, what's not resonating with customers. But also when we get out of the a tech app media world, we have stores, and we have humans in those stores who are interacting with customers every day. We have associates that are interacting with customers every day. So I think as the pandemic causes changes in how people are living their lives, making sure that we've got really, really strong understanding of what that means, I think, and implications for how we go to market in the short term and how we build our strategies for the long term.
Now, a question on innovation, and sorry, I can't tell you who these questions are from because they come in as an anonymous attendee. But they're saying we've seen a lot of amazing innovations across all of industries. Can you tell us a little bit about new innovative ways that you are connecting to consumers today?
I don't know if this is going to satisfy the question, but
give it a go.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me, and I just had my last week at Walmart last week, so this is kind of just, I'm in reflection mode. The thing that stands out to me is how marketing needs to be so close to operations, right? Like we've all kind of talked about the operational experience making or breaking the member experience, or the prospects experience when they're trying. So a lot of the innovation has been around staying closer, making sure all the pipes are connected. We're not acquiring people when their local store has really poor store capacity or slot capacity, right? We're acquiring people to the best experiences so that we're setting them up for success. So it probably is a boring answer to say the pipes are connected better. We're using data to acquire and retain people in a smarter way. We're not going to acquire people into poor experiences. But to me, that's innovative because we're actually protecting the customer experience. It's just foundational. It's like foundational innovation, I guess.
But I do think you make a very important point, which is, if you can have all the most wonderful ideas in the world, but actually if the operation is poor around it.
Exactly.
It gives the consumer just a dreadful experience.
Exactly. And I think that we've done TikTok, we've done a lot of the cool campaigns that, very sexy campaigns that we've tried and been excited about, but it has to go back to the customer experience and making sure, with the pandemic, there was so much demand. We actually had to respond to that because slot capacity, the ability to actually get a delivery suffered. which meant that we had to be reactive as a team around slowing down in areas such as acquisition, so that we weren't actually affecting the existing members' experience, right? It's the same pool of slots. We don't want to hurt the existing members' experience by bringing in too much demand, and the demand and supply just wasn't working out. And so it's like kind of being in tune with, for the business, it might be great to keep scaling, but for the customer, we have to be cognizant of what their experience is in the pandemic.
And finally, one last question, which we can probably just about squeeze in, which is around prioritization. So given where you are at the moment, where you've been, where you want to get to, what are you prioritizing now?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Roma, do you want to
Go
go?
ahead, Alex.
I mean,
Go
I think
ahead.
just from my world and from my perspective, I touched on it a little bit earlier, is just getting people to know that this exists. Like we've got to build awareness of the program. We haven't been around for a long time. People know Walmart. People don't necessarily know Walmart Plus. And then making sure that the value prop is really clear. And I think Helen touched on that a little bit earlier too. We can tell people that this exists, that these are the benefits, this is what you get when you pay this. But why is that important to you? And why does that help you in your everyday life? Because we are engaged with customers and most of America as a total Walmart brand on an everyday basis. And why does the membership make that even better for you?
Roma.
Yeah, and I'll just end on, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think Helen hit the nail on the head, just really making sure that we get that operational experience as good as it can be. I think any program, especially for a membership program, you have much higher expectations of the consumer. If you're paying for something, we need to over deliver on that. So really making the investments in the operation to deliver that seamless, smooth experience. And it's not an easy task, right? This is a massive company with hundreds and thousands of stores that we need to work with to make sure that we're executing and deliver and offering that seamless experience. But it's a really important priority for the business.
Well, with a look to the future, that's a really nice place to stop. We could have carried on for a long, long time, but the grim reaper of time has paid us a visit. So Roma, Alex, Helen from Walmart Plus, or Helen, having just only last week left Walmart Plus, but thank you very much indeed for still joining us. It's very much appreciated. It's been a fantastic conversation. And thank you so much for both your time and your generosity of insight. Thanks very much indeed. I'll hand back to David.
Thank you.